It is Monday, so you know what we got to do on Mondays. Hard left, hard right, what we got the most correct from last week and what we got the most wrong from last week. And really, for right now, it is what we have most right through a quarter of the NFL season and what we have most wrong a quarter through the NFL season. So let's start with wrong. I was wrong about the Tennessee Titans. I had the Tennessee Titans being my seventh playoff team. I thought the combination, again, the math in my head is I said this team won 3 games. I saw Will Levis lose 4 games. And I think Cam Ward and a couple new guys on offense and defense were going to be good enough to get them to that 9-win mark. What do you want, man? I saw Will Levis lose games in real time. So I didn't think this team was as bad as their record was last year. I saw a coach who I thought had coming over from Cincinnati. I was like, I see the promise. I see the potential. I thought it truly was just the quarterback sabotaging them. And I really, really like Cam Ward. And Cam, through 4 weeks, said this earlier in the show, Cam through 4 weeks, I think is absolutely a guy who you need to build around. I think he has the right stuff. I think he can be the guy. But you gotta prove it. And right now, they're not proving it. So even though, yes, they're 0-4, they're not going to make the playoffs. And I can believe in Cam Ward and the Titans long term. Really hard to believe in them short term right now. It's really hard to look at that team and go, oh yeah, this team could be a playoff team. And I got all the other stuff around them right. Is the Texans are struggling, who could have made my hard left. Their Texans are 1-3. The Jaguars are 500, but they don't look very good. The Indianapolis Colts, again, they're 3-1. I've been wrong on them, but they don't have like this incredible resume where it's like, oh, would it be impossible to chase down the Colts? Probably not impossible. But the way you're trending right now, is it likely? No. Here's the reality with the Titans. You're probably going to have to get a new head coach. Brian Callahan, most coaches, and I don't know the process. I've never been an NFL head coach. I've never been a head coach on any kind of level. I've never been a coordinator at any kind of level, high school, college, or pro. So let's just be fair. Brian Callahan doesn't seem like he practices late game situations, meaning it almost feels like every single time he's in a late game scenario, he's kind of just making it up as he goes. This is and he's better than this guy, but it feels a lot like one of Aaron Rodgers' best friends. When Nathaniel Hackett got hired for the Broncos, I was excited because it was Nathaniel Hackett, it was Russell Wilson, it was offense, which the direction was going. Russell we didn't know, at least, hadn't fallen off a cliff yet. And I was excited. And then we all saw week 1. We all saw week 1 of that season. And we all saw how horrible he was at the end of the game management. And it's like, did you practice that? Did you once think maybe you were going to be in a close game with a minute to go? It just all looked like a clusterfuck, unorganized. Didn't look like they practiced. And Brian Callahan is giving me shades of Nathaniel Hackett. And there was a joke last year where it's like, you could go Will Levis, but don't go full Will Levis. You could go Nathaniel Hackett and struggle at the end of the game, but don't go full Nathaniel Hackett. Like, a lot of coaches struggle with game management, and it's hard. Genuinely, it's hard. But you can't be that bad. And Brian Callahan is struggling in a lot of late game management, a lot of late game situations, to the point of you're looking at him going, did you practice? Did you ever think maybe we might be in this spot? Like, it's just weird, right? Like, it's just Objectively weird. So the Titans, who I thought had a real chance because I liked the roster, and Jeffrey Simmons is playing great, by the way. Like, Jeffrey Simmons deserves a shout out. Jeffrey Simmons has been playing out of his mind as a defensive tackle. They played the Broncos week 1, and there was all this talk about he went into the offseason, got himself in great shape, wanted to be a leader on the team, was doing all these different things, and he's played great. He had a sack yesterday. He sacked C.J. Stroud in less than 2 seconds. Like, he's been playing incredible. But this team, I was wrong. It was just wrong. It's unfortunate, man. Moving over to HardRight, I believe this wholeheartedly. Sometimes we just want to believe a situation applies to everybody. And the reality is it never will, it never has, and it doesn't. If you are supremely talented, you will get away with things normal people don't get away with. This is the laws of the world. It's how it goes. The Eagles 2 years ago, when they went to the Super Bowl, lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs, and they lose both the coordinators, Steichen and Gannon, and then they had that horrible second half of the year, and it was, see what happens when you lose coordinators, even a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. That's not a standard for everybody. And I'm not even here to shit on that Eagles team and say they weren't good. But this Detroit Lions team, the entire conversation of the offseason was, are they going to be as good as we thought? Are they going to be as good as last year? Or there's no way that they can because they lost Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. Can't do it. Do we not see the personnel this team has? Amon-Ra St. Brown, tight end play, the offensive line, this defense with Aiden Hutchinson and not just a million injuries because they fell apart at the end of last season. And can we give Dan Campbell some respect? I know it's been really trendy, and I understand the value of if your play caller is your head coach, because then you get to keep him forever, versus if your play caller is a coordinator and you have success, someone's going to take him. But the culture of Detroit, we don't give enough, especially in a sport like football, for the culture that you build. Dan Campbell has a tough-ass football team. A resilient-ass football team. A team that is going to punch you in the mouth. They're going to play hard every day. They are going to play hard for their head coach. And they're just more talented than you. Jared Goff, the running backs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hawkins, like, they're just more talented than you. Jameson Williams. So the idea that this team was just going to crater because we said, well, I saw the Eagles crater, so they must crater too. They lost 2 of their coordinators. Logic that applies to one does not apply to all. It's very seldom. Yes, are there things they probably miss about Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson? Sure. But the idea that they were just not going to be the best team in the NFC North never made sense to me. I picked this team to win the NFC North all offseason. I feel great about it now. And let's go look at who the 2 coordinators, where they went. Aaron Glenn and the Jets haven't won a game. They've looked better. They look more competent than last year under Robert Saleh, but haven't won a game. Chicago Bears, they are 2-2. They escaped Vegas. They have the blocked field goal. But Ben Johnson's been kind of weird. Like, did you see that interview yesterday? I saw that interview that he had at halftime, and the way that he just stared down the reporter and his answers, I'm like, that gives me pause and nerves about the Bears, who I predicted also make the playoffs. I like Chicago. But that was a weird interview. That's you watch that interview and then you watch the Lions play and you go, oh, that's why Dan Campbell's the culture guy. That's why Dan Campbell is the head coach, not just a coordinator play call. Is he the world's greatest X's and O's guy? Probably not. Is Ben Johnson probably a better X's and O's guy at its pure sense than Dan Campbell? Yeah, sure. But this team, what they need, what makes the Detroit Lions, they don't need an X's and O's guy. You don't need a brilliant super genius. Dan Campbell has created a team in his image, what he wants to see out there on the football field, and he's done it. So this idea that losing those two coordinators, that just put them out of commission. They had no chance to succeed. I didn't buy into it. They're 3-1. They look great. They're scoring all these points even without Ben Johnson. You might say Cleveland's not a great win, but scoring that many points against that Cleveland defense? Yes, they had a bad week 1. Fine. But look at them post week 1. So, HardRight, HardLeft, another Monday in the books.
I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.